Good afternoon. I'm sorry I couldn't make it at 10 o'clock. Something happened, so I think it is a good thing to have lots of friends. And, I'm sure you all will see it when you get old. And, as you grow old, so obviously you know more friends, right? And some of us have been just lucky. We don't seem to lose friends. Okay, that's a good part. The not so good part is it just becomes unmanageable. Okay, and added to that is the chaos of Bangalore road. So I had to be in Canara Bank head office. So that's what I got delayed. Sorry. Okay, and it's good. So thanks for so many of our special speakers who have come and spoken. And as the good old days people used to say, people who can, like SN or Mahesh, they actually do it. Okay. Those who can't, of course, there are some exceptions like Sridhar, okay, like me, teach, right, So there are only two parts of life, those who can, those who can't, okay. I belong to those who can't, okay. But nonetheless, there is one advantage we as a community we enjoy, okay. We are what is called accepted neutral. See, one is perceived neutral, second thing is accepted neutral. And because we are accepted neutral, we get access to lots of things. I'm going to spend about a couple of minutes, sometimes because you read the newspapers and you see what is happening right before you, etc., you may actually think, you may not get the kind of things this country is attempting to do. I'm not necessarily saying that, look, every one of them we have been successful, but amazing things are actually kind of happening due to combinations of things, okay. I will tell you things where I am so intensely associated so that it becomes easier because I have also the authority of being part of it. Okay, so I'm only talk about financial services. Okay, I don't like money, and 99% of the time, including me, I am penniless by design. Okay, and I am perfectly happy. Okay, and I don't trade. Okay, I hate to go to the bank. So that's the reason why, for whatever reason, my wife makes fun of me. The more you hate money, the more you are going to get involved in financial services. But so I don't know how many of you know that when Harshad Mehta scam happened, everybody talks about it. What many of you may not know, something dramatic happened. Something called NSE got set up, right? National Stock Exchange. And we also had what is called CSDL and NSDL, two depositories actually happened. And we dematerialized. NSE is a complete all electronic exchange. Okay, and most countries took about 20 years, average is 23 years to dematerialize stocks. This country did in 23 months. Okay, and I don't know how many of you notice that by equity trading, by transaction volume, NSE is the world's largest. It is larger than NASDAQ. Okay, so I can tell you with authority because I'm on the board. Okay, so what happens is that it's kind of interesting. This is one data point I want you to know. The second thing was that we had lots of problems about computerization, etc. We attempted computerization for many years, and then this is the only country where bank staff went for strike against computerization, and there was a big committee with some of us were there, which we have to decide whether to have ALPM should have 64 kilobytes of memory or 128 kilobytes of memory. Can you think of such stupid things being done by technical committees? Okay, but all these became history because again completely. So what happens is bad things in this country are actually good. You may not realize it. Lots of bad things are happening, and you always associate CAG and CVC with only bad things, but they have done great things. It was one Mr. Vittal, okay, who actually put a diktat as a CVC chairman. He was a telecom secretary and created IT secretary, created STPI. That's an interesting story by itself. But in 2001, he put a diktat that by 2011, 100% computerization is done. We achieved it in 2008 from a CVC diktat. And thanks to that, some of you possibly may not know, there is one solution called Finacle, which comes from the building across. For 17 quarters in a row, it is the world's magic quadrant of Gartner. It is the leader. and it holds 16.9% of the bank accounts of the world. So about 17% of the world bank accounts run on Finacle. More interesting stuff. The second one also happens in Bangalore. It used to be called I-MACX. I was there on the day I-MACX was started. It was just a few days after IIIT-B started. Okay, that is the number 2. More interesting, number 3 is called I-MACX. That also happens, development happens in Bangalore. So 50% of the world bank accounts anywhere in the planet run on solution from this city. Okay, so more interesting stuff. Okay, all of you know Visa and MasterCard, right? What is a Visa or MasterCard? Is it a bank? It's not a bank. So it is a bank intermediary, right? So what happens is that they created something called a credit card as an infrastructure, and they have done a great job. Okay, and of course, you know, some of you would have used, and you know where they make money. Once in a while you will forget, they want you to forget, and when you forget, I don't know how many of you have ever noticed, and we all keep making fun of these bad lenders in this country. They charge you enormous amount of interest, etc. Visa and MasterCard charge a comfortable 36% interest, right? Most people don't even know. Okay, once in a while you would have paid, so doesn't matter. Okay, but what is interesting is they hold such a large network, so many transactions go through. So it was again one interesting conversation by, I think, this lady Shamla, okay, who used to be deputy governor of RBI, and we are talking about, you know, electronic transactions, etc. We realize the amount of transactions which will happen over the Visa and MasterCard in this country, because we will be the largest population country. We obviously will have the largest transaction. One is it will be large in number. Second thing is it has other implication from financial security. Okay, out of that, a company called NPCI was formed, National Payment Corporation of India, and they have created a card called RuPay. So I used to be on the board, so okay, and we also had from the Department of Commerce a symbol for rupee created. You know, there was no symbol for rupee, right? Just all happened because I also happen to be in the board of NPCI. I'm the only non-technical guy, you know, I don't understand anything, but those guys simply thought that I was useful, and I also created IMPS, not that you know, like I've been selling them mobile. Finally, I don't know how many of you use IMPS, right? So IMPS was created, okay? So what I want to get across is, don't get overly worked up with all the negative things which you see, okay? And we'll kind of conclude with one small thing. You know, I was talking to, maybe 2 things. I was talking to the SAP CEOs a few years back. You know, they started their operations. You all know that 5 people who got frustrated. Lots of people got frustrated with IBM. I think IBM is a great company. So many people get frustrated, so many great companies formed, okay? So, and they joined with a professor, that is how SAP was formed. And we were kind of complaining about roads, etc., etc. And he looked at me straight in my eyes. He said, "Look, Shatagopan, see, you are complaining about problems which can be solved. See, your roads can be fixed, actually, in a couple of years. But I am sure your jokers will not allow you to be fixed. But eventually it will get fixed in some 20 years, 30 years. But he said, look at my problem. Okay, I work in Frankfurt. And for 3 or 4 months, I look through the window. It is gloomy. And the whole day will be gloomy for the whole 3 months and for next 30 years of my life. So who is better off? You have solvable problems. We have unsolvable problems. Okay, so we have solvable problem. Okay, so that is something which I want you. And then he also told me that people complain about Bangalore. It was a few years back. He said, look, we don't even realize, within a span of 4 or 5 years, we got 3 things done. We got a greenfield, private, international, good quality airport. Right? And second, because I used to be in the board of BEML, so we make those coaches. We got the metro done. Okay, I think, you know, Chennai started about 1.5 years later. Today, Chennai has more kilometers than metro because everything works slowly in Bangalore, Namma Bangalore. That's a different issue. Okay, and we also got the elevated highway done. In fact, some of us right in this building, met the minister, and who was a first-rate rascal. But interesting stuff is we got it done. We never thought it will happen, right? So I think that is India. Okay. So the point I want to get across is, look beyond all these things. Okay, my generation, what we did, we all went to United States, helped some US universities and research labs, or helped some US companies. It was great. We still have a good feeling for that country. I keep visiting for 45 years. It's nice, okay? But that's what we did. Okay, some people said that, look, we can do something different. We can work in India and serve those American corporations because they are still profitable, because you can pay them, they can pay in dollars, and dollars get multiplied. My time it used to be multiplied 7.5 times, now it is 70.5 times. Okay, so that is called outsourcing, right? Offshoring, outsourcing. So Indians in much larger number, our time it was in dozens and hundreds, this became thousands to tens of thousands to 100,000s, okay, working for primarily US corporations, Western Europe, elsewhere, etc., etc. But I think a time has come that you can solve this country's problem. And what is really kind of what I feel every day morning when I get up, I get excited. I'm 64, 65 actually, it'll be a couple of months. I'm an old man about to retire, okay? So, but as my friends say, don't seem to be retiring, because I jokingly say I'm not tired, so I can't retire, right? So the interesting stuff is every day I end up meeting half a dozen people and trying to solve this country's problem, or trying to solve problems which everyone else is not able to solve. Okay, I'll take 3 examples just to kind of give you. I think that's where I feel excited that you will succeed. You may fail once or twice, doesn't matter. Okay, keep attempting. Okay, and you all know that there is a company called Red Bus. Yeah. Okay, so if you come to think about it, see, I tell you, I used to consult for KSRTC from Kanpur, and I also spent a year at IIT Madras. Okay, so Pallavan Transport was one of the best transport corporations, but Pallavan Transport will not undertake computerization because of something else. Because in Tamil Nadu, everything has to be accepted by DMK or ADMK. If it is not, nothing will happen. Okay, but KSRTC went ahead and computerized. They were one of the very first public road transport corporation to computerize. And I still remember that they were trying to do things on their novel netware. I told them it may not be the best thing. Good thing they did not listen to me. They went ahead and worked. Right? We thought it may not work, but it worked. Okay. But what happens is that a kind of system which KSRTC has, if a road transport has to have, they have to invest a few crores of rupees. Right? But this country has a very large number of road transport companies, public sector, private sector, and particularly if you go to northern India, see, northern India has a dense train network. So the number of people who use bus is much smaller. Okay? But southern India has a much better road network, so most people travel by road. So, but still you have 10%, 20%, like something you should know that, see, they're all, one of the advantage of being a professor is you can do lots of things which others, because we don't have to ask for leave, right? I still remember I used to write to my head of the department, I have not fallen sick, but I'm feeling sick. So you can get, you see, actual record, So I said, I want to get out. And this used to be my way of discovery. I'll go to the Kanpur railway station, look at the first train that is coming, and buy a ticket for the destination. Somewhere I'll get down. Okay, so that's how I kind of know most parts of this country. I have traveled by bus from Kanpur to Dwarka and Dwarka to Mysore. Okay, so bus service is there. It's not there. Okay, but the problem which Red Bus said was that, look, they kept asking, see, if you have to do a KSRTC, what KSRTC can afford, others cannot afford. So can you build a solution for 10 bus system, 200 bus system, 2,000 bus owners, 20,000 bus owners, and can you make it work? And that is what Red Bus did. And suddenly you will find a student can actually book a bus between Dehradun and Haldwani, okay, so up there in the north in Himalaya, okay, sitting in Bangalore, right? And what a change they brought. Of course, now I don't know that you follow him. They're actually gone to Malaysia, okay? So don't, see what I'm saying is if you solve India's problem, you also have lots of markets, okay? The second kind of stuff, you know, like a lot of time people will tell you that Indians are only kind of copying others, okay? So copying by itself is not bad. So let me tell you, so as long as you have a value proposition, okay? But you know, if you actually take the extreme definition, copying is bad, there should be no other computer company other than IBM, right? All of them are little bit incremental kind of stuff, okay? So sometimes I also want you, because most of you are likely to be engineers, and one of the important stuff from an engineering point of view is that you must have read a little bit about the Microsoft and the Apple. The key thing is we engineers, we fall in love with features. Don't fall in love with features. Or you fall in love with features, don't expect the consumer to fall in love with features. Consumers fall in love with what they want, okay? So in fact, you all know that the Flipkart founders used to work for Amazon. Amazon was not going anywhere in this country, okay? And it's extremely simple, but the important for engineers to understand is you have to sometimes understand core consumer psychology. The core consumer psychology was that Flipkart would come and, Amazon India would come and deliver. Old people like us, we have credit cards. We have absolutely no problem. But the only thing is, we don't feel like putting the credit card in multiple places and somebody comes, you know, like give the credit card or putting it in the browser window, etc., etc. And lots of people, because, you know, like we people use, one is that, you know, it's a very funny situation, right? You know, people who are above 60 in this country are actually the wealthy people, because, you know, things have changed, because, you know, most of the people who have a job and your children don't depend on you, so you have money to spend. Other people who have money to spend either borrowed or whatever through the credit card, or the youngsters. The youngsters have no problem, but they don't have credit card, they don't have history. So what Flipkart did was to essentially said, we will provide cash on delivery. But one of the things which many of you know is most of the time it is not cash on delivery. So when they come to me, the only thing I want is, I will say, put the machine, I will swipe it, I will punch the number, because earlier we were not even punching the number. So I don't want you to take it out, okay? And as far as the youngsters are concerned, so they actually take the car, my card, and my children do that, okay? So the point is that it will be interesting that a lot of time, you know, people think it's a cash payment. It is not, okay? A lot of time it is, but it is just a question of understanding the fact that you are doing it in my control. And that is one of the big reasons why Flipkart succeeded. And I don't know how many of you know, Flipkart tried to do something which they did not succeed. I still have, Flipkart actually started a music service. Didn't. And good thing is that you have to realize when you have made a mistake, they shut it down like this, okay? So what happens is that today Flipkart is really large, and I don't know how many of you noticed that they are doing something which again common sense tells you can't do. This again, India is one country where you must have heard about India, right? Whatever statement you make about India is true, and simultaneously the contrary is also true. Right? That is India, right? So what happens is Flipkart is creating the largest number of jobs in the lowest segment, the drivers, the pushers, etc., etc., and they would create, in the order of, they will actually create a couple of lakhs of jobs. More interesting stuff. In every IIT, every IIIT, every IIM, they are the dream jobs, and they have been the first recruiters, and they have been recruiting in large number. This is funny, right? You could never think of a company which will recruit the IIT, IIMs as well as lowest level. They do that, okay? And they're kind of growing, okay? So what at least I like about it is, And the third data point, which you probably may or may not know, the largest business for Flipkart is not from the metros. It's actually from small towns. And how do I know it? Because, this is again, okay, a lot of people somehow invite you, and a lot of times you give something and people take it seriously. I was sitting with the PMG, Postmaster General of Bangalore. There was a course for some PMGs. So I just was telling, sir, if only post office talks to Flipkart, you will have a roaring business, because companies like Flipkart, their maximum order is in tier 2, tier 3 towns, and you all know the so-called the courier fellows are not there. They have no reach. And it was quite surprising. Other day he called me. So post office is making about 160 crores of business a month, thanks to Flipkart. And they have created a whole new division. It is called post office courier or some such thing. Okay. So Flipkart actually is growing. And another mistake we the city fellows make. See, we do some auto filling. The moment you say rural, you put poor. It's not true. There are lots and lots of fairly rich people in rural India. And again, you think that agriculture means labor. No, there are lots of agricultural, whatever you call it, jamindars, may not be in the old sense. But you see, a lot of people who do agriculture are actually having good amount of income. So bottom line is, don't go by the stereotypes, okay? So you have lots and lots of business, okay? The third, I also want to know that there is a company called Agana, okay? You can go and look up, AAGANA, and they're actually solving a fairly tough problem which many US companies and international companies have attempted and failed. They may also fail, I don't know. But what is good is that what I feel so good about it, that they're attempting to solve such hard problems. A couple of my faculty members are kind of helping them. And they found something very interesting. This is an area where my knowledge is near zero, okay? But it is kind of hard problem I could appreciate. So they are trying to make the problem of buying dress for women a more comfortable experience. I understand that, you never get the right fix. You go home and you realize, okay? Using extremely sophisticated cameras, image processing, 3D, okay? They're trying to come up with some interesting patterns of what is called a comfort. So can you grade the comfort, okay, for different types of dress, etc. And so this is an area where gaps of the world have failed, right? So it's important for you to know, okay? So, and most important stuff, this is actually started by a person who is even older than me, okay? A person called BVV, SN would know, okay? He is one of the second employee of Wipro, when Wipro was originally a Wipro PC company, Wipro Infotech. So never think that old people are always useless, okay? Sometimes old people are also useful. And there is no entrepreneurship. And you all know that Aravind Eye Hospital, the famous one, started when the founder was 58. So there are, okay. So what is the bottom line? So bottom line is, you are in for great times, okay? And you can actually change the world and start by changing things in your neighborhood. And I always think that India is a problem full of challenges, but every one of the challenge can be an opportunity for a startup. Okay, don't look at these challenges, like there is so much of garbage around. Okay, so maybe some of you will discover that garbage can become gold. Who knows? There may be something, okay? And with due respect, okay, what does the analytics guys do? See, a lot of times, lots and lots of data is actually garbage. Out of that they get something, right? Most of the data is useless, right? So whatever you are doing in digital world, can you do in the analog world, okay? And second thing is that, we always think that, look, we Indians are fighting, Hindu, Muslim, upper caste, lower caste, etc., etc. Maybe out of this fighting, okay, we might actually get something, okay? So look at each one of these potential problems in this country as an opportunity for a startup. Okay, I think that is what I want to. So what I want you to go back is that our generation, Indians solving the world's other companies, working for other companies and other institutions, other research labs. Second thing is Indians working in India and solving other problems. Now is the time Indians are working and solving India's problem. Okay, so many of them. So I think you kind of walk around, you will get a problem. And I can tell you that, you know, we keep talking to profs in MIT, Stanford. So they all keep coming to this country only for this. Okay, on the face of it. But you know, like if you are in if you are in Finland, it's a great country to be. Everything is so organized. There is nothing for you to do. I think this is a country where you have so much to do, and particularly you guys in 20s, you know, you are lucky lot. And at least two things came from the heaven. See, once I gave a talk somewhere in Boston, and people were talking about, you know, webmail, you know, hotmail time. I said, look, see, just for fun, you know, I told them the webmail actually came in India. I said, why? Meghaduta, right? Cloud mail. Okay. So the point I'm saying is that you people are so young, and thanks to the cloud, thanks to the mobile, thanks to the wireless connectivity, lots of things you can do which was so difficult. What SN and all used to struggle, you don't have to struggle at all. And once again, you know, I'm an incorrigible optimist. I feel that the solution to Bangalore's road problems are not more roads, more flyovers. I think, you know, I would expect that, you know, in your mohalla, you will find a place where you have a few terminals. And as soon as you go and put your Aadhaar identity, the terminal will become your office and you work from there. So people just walk to work. And once in a while, you take your car and just go for a movie or a shopping or whatever. Okay, something like that, you know, it's not going to be, because the usual solution of more metros, more cars is not going to solve this problem. Somebody will fix this problem. And it looks like that IT seems to fix lots of problems in this country. Maybe it will even fix those kind of problems. Okay, so thank you and thanks for your time, and wishing you all the best. And so I think Ramesh and Jagdish will keep kind of pinging you, and we will keep following your progress and make us proud and make your parents proud and make your spouses and families proud. I think it's a great time to be in India, and particularly places like Bangalore. It's an incredible time. I think don't lose an opportunity. Okay, so other day somebody was telling, sir, what will you do if you are 18? I said, I want to be in Bangalore. That's all. Okay, and to do maybe a startup. It's kind of fun. So there's just so much to do. And look at people like Mahesh, you know, how much they could achieve, right? I think you have a sense of satisfaction, right? I think that is what, which nothing else in the planet can give you that. Thank you.
So this is directed to three audiences. Some students who I see sitting here. I want some of you to take up some R&D work with my company. The R&D work you will come to know. Some faculty who is here, and Professor Sridhar is already helping me out. If they're interested in some of the problems, you know, we can work together. And for investors, because I'll need some funding. So what I'm doing is, I'm creating a IT products company in the railways domain. Incidentally, I did not notice any significantly big company or any known company that which makes software products for railways. So I call it that this may be the first company that we are making. Here, you can read it here. The purpose is to make in India, because Indian Railways is one of the most complex railways. If we can solve the problems here, we can definitely solve the problems outside India. The first problem that I attempted, actually I got it from one of the senior guys in railways, and it was about crew scheduling. So there are around 30,000 crew which work all the coaching trains in India. And these guys spend a lot of time in running rooms and waste time there. Basically, some guy goes from here to running room, then comes back, takes headquarter rest and that kind of stuff. So this is all a very big combinatorial optimization problem. This we have solved, and we expect to save around 10% of the crew in the process, which comes to 400 crore rupees per year. When I could solve this, I said, now we have to take it to the railway board guys. We showed it to those guys, and then those guys were interested. Okay, because I come from railways background, I worked in Indian Railways for 13 years, MTech from IIT Delhi, PhD from IIM Calcutta. I was teaching in MDI Gurgaon. I worked in Infosys Labs research. So I had that kind of credentials where I found that this niche area I can tackle, which others might not be even aware. Another person in this area is Professor Bodhibrat Nag. He's OR professor in IIM Calcutta. He has written 3 OR books. One of them is on optimization of timetable itself. He is my mentor. So the need is, this is basically not the customer facing stuff. This is optimizing the operations. So this first one was crew scheduling problem. Second one is loco scheduling problem, in which we are improving the loco utilization by just 1%. 1% releases 33 locomotives, and one locomotive of 14 crore rupees can use like 420 plus crore rupees of capital that they get. Our competition is from some companies in US. They are niche OR companies. They work in railways as well as other areas, but they generally work in services kind of environment. So you want to solve some problem, give them, they'll solve it. But we want to make a product company. So till now we have made 2 products. First one is 80% mix, second one is 20%. We have shown the POC to the railway guys. First one, they already have a sanctioned budget, and this is a huge amount of budget for that. In fact, it is $2 million. So for all over India, crew scheduling kind of solution, that is the amount of budget they have. And we are the only one as of now who is focusing and completely productizing the whole stuff and trying to sell it. Earlier their estimation was to give it as a services contract to somebody. Second and third project, to make the decision support system for rake links, we have given budgetary quotation. They will get sanctioned. Okay. Timetabling software, this is needed in all metro railways, and we have one, I could see one RFP from a Canadian railway, and I immediately realized that this is a big market. Like, Indian Railway is a huge problem, but all metro railways are also a huge problem as far as timetabling is concerned. So this product can be sold to multiple people. Then there is a traffic block scheduler. This particular application, actually, railway guys, Indian railway guys, even do not realize how much they need it. I saw it one railway in Australia. There is no other railway which has tried this. This is basically squeezing something like 4-5 hours per month from the track, from maintenance, so that more trains can run. So 4-5 hours in a month is actually just 0.5%. But you release 0.5% track capacity, so that more goods train can run. So huge financial impact of this application also. Workshop staff scheduler is another one which is needed for all metro railways, all workshop, because there is a moving asset, then staff requirement, and this we have tested. In fact, not in my company. When I was in Infosys, those guys were trying to do something, but people lose interest in big companies in these innovative ideas. So this is one which I'll take up. So these are the 6 products in the first phase. This is for the first one. There is shortage of time, so I'll just skip through. This is the amount of money involved for making the first version of the product, which is sellable. Because once you sell it, then for another 2-3 years you make it at the cost of the client itself. So it is around $750,000 that will be needed. Though we'll actually start getting revenue within, say, 3-4 months. And this is the market potential. So I have put in the numbers. This is Indian Railway numbers. This is Indian Metro Railway. This is the revenue. This is the number of clients there. This is foreign railways, foreign railway clients. This is revenue from foreign metro railways and foreign metro railway clients. So total adds to huge amount of money actually. But these are all numbers. These are the timelines of the products. So we are starting small. With my own funding, I will go slow. till actually I sell the first product. But if I get some funding from somebody, I'll actually move faster. I am here in IIIT Bangalore because I get help from the students and faculty, so that research work, which can start without pumping in that much money, can still, move forward. So we code it. That time we need more coders, and coders are costly in Bangalore. So this is what is my plan. Yeah.
Indian Railways has a technology division, right, which actually is based out of Lucknow.
No, Chris.
Yeah.
Lucknow is RDSO, yes.
Okay. So, and second one is IIT Kanpur has a full-fledged team which works with railways.
IIT Kharagpur also works.
Yeah, but IIT Sampark project and other 2-3 projects. So, is there any collaboration which is already happening on that?
These things I have shown to everybody in the railways, and they know what I am doing, and they know what others are doing for them, and they know that nobody else is doing this.
No, reason why I'm asking this question is whenever we make a pitch to the senior guys, right, they tell get a geom at the ground level guy and implement it one place. If you have a trial running, you will automatically.
Yeah.
I think Professor Ramesh will put you in touch with Sundar. There's a student of whom Professor had actually, we had some work with railways in between, in IIIT.
Chris. Proper person, yeah, I introduced.
I think you should. Sundar is a person who can, because he can get one GM who will implement it.
Okay.
If one GM implements it, you automatically get a referral site for it.
Okay, I'll tell you. One of the very senior guy told me this. I immediately said, boss, I'm not going to do it. If you pay money, then I'll do it.
Yes,
otherwise, I'll not do
be
it.
Making payments.
Okay.
Now after Prabhu has come there is a possibility of a GM getting the payment.
Yeah.
But
Because
Sundar
I know if they want to not do something, they can actually say such things.
We'll take it off like this.
Yeah. Anything? I'm available outside. Thank you so much.
Hello everybody. My name is Kunal. This is Saurav, and we are representing Epithet. We identify ourselves as relevant educational information powered by data. So how did we found ourselves doing this? Saurav and I were talking once over the coffee actually, and we discussed how my state has a really high merit list for engineering and medicine. Around 95-96% is the cut-off mark, whereas his state has like 13,000 vacant seats in engineering field only. Now my state prides themselves as going out for study or work. We go to even Uganda or Tanzania for study or work. Why don't we go to Assam? So that's where basically the idea started. So Epithet, what is it? It's an educational platform that guides the students and professionals through an access to the reliable information. We are using aggregated data analytics so we can help them in their educational decisions for a more successful career advancement. So what is the current scenario of education in India? Let me talk to you in the numbers of the institutes and seats. So we have, as I told you, we have around 700 universities. We are catering around 30 million students. Also UGC has mentioned that we require around 40 million more seats within next 5 years. How are we approaching this problem? So India has been adding around 15 universities every year since 2008. I guess 2013 was our lucky year because we had added 30 more universities. And still we can see there are 3 major problems. Inclusion. So we have very low rate of enrollment in higher education. Access, when I say access, we have real income gap in our society where 20% of the bottom class has only 6% enrollment rate in higher education, whereas the top 20% income group, they have 37% enrollment rate in higher education. We also, when you look at the geographical arena, 7 universities in north or west part, they have 56% of the total universities, whereas northeastern 7 states, they have only 5.4% or around close to 5% universities, which even when you come to the population size, in this northwest states, they have 2 universities per million population, whereas in northeast states, they have 2 universities per 1.5 million population. So what are the reasons behind this? I think the reasons is that students got that information for what are the educational opportunities for them. So the reasons is no centralized platforms, or the existing platforms are very generic and they don't use technologies or data analytics in that. So what are we proposing? We are proposing an aggregated platform for the information. We are also proposing an intelligent ranking system for the institutes, and we hope to be a matchmaking platform for institutes and students. Why us? Because we have adequate information, we are using big data, we have collected and analyzing more data from more than 10,000 institutes. We are implementing intelligent ranking system. We have a highly dedicated team. We are very passionate about education, and we are already counseling more than 1,500 students in 12 institutes. So this is the financial figures of Indian education market. I don't think I have to go over that because of the time limits. We hope that we will be sustainable within the end of the next year. We already launched our beta launch, and we will be partnering with the institute within these years. We are hoping to see the traction within 6 months, and we will need $150,000 for us to sustainable for 1 year. And this is our team. Saurav, he has worked with Swiss Bank and has more than 10 years of experience. There is Ventesh, who has more than 20 years of experience. Our data backend and front-end guys are Piyush and Sujit, and I myself handle marketing. So thank you all. If you have any questions, just contact us offline. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Rahul. I am representing Right Angle. Let me just find its slideshow first. So we are basically into zone of giving voice to customers. There is no need to state the problem. Basically, everyone knows that for any business, it's like Indian Ijjat. You cannot build it very easily, but you can lose it very quickly. And what happens most of the time is the people who are unhappy with your brand's interaction do not really let you know that there is a problem. They just simply leave and never come back. Not only that, they share the bad experiences far more often with their friends. So their friends eventually feel nearly the same kind of bad vibes about your brand as they do. Now our idea is that we should give them enough capability to share that feedback without bothering to know too much in advance. So you don't need to have a mobile application or a phone number that you need to know or a website that you need to know about. When you are interacting at a brand interaction point, it can be a retail store, it can be a hospital, it can be a general application service point, restaurant, anywhere. They simply connect to the Wi-Fi, and our feedback form pops up. They give the feedback. The guys responsible immediately receive an email, and it's up to them to save the day. They can call back the customer and whatever they can do to help them in the context. With respect to big data, we were talking about the context and all. This is the most contextualized information we can pass on to the brands and businesses to save themselves. This is how it works. It's basically a small device that we have. You put it in your business place, and it gives an open Wi-Fi. Any phone can connect to that Wi-Fi, and a form pops up. It has feedback as a primary service, but other applications can also be done. It's like a mini website or a mini set of applications that can be used depending on what kind of business it is. This is an example for restaurants where you can publish your menus or probably have customer registrations and rewards as well going along with it. We visualize that there are more than 10 million physical customer interaction points for brands spanning across the industries, from hospitality to healthcare to bank to governments to airlines, transport, everywhere. It's basically whenever someone sees your brand name, how do they feel about it? How is the interaction going? For example, banks and ATMs we have kept different because ATM management goes to some other company. Whether they are clean, whether security guard is available, whether a dog is sleeping inside, how do you know? So that's the basic set of brand interactions we're talking about. So far, we are churning out about 200K revenue in USD, and more than 4 lakh visits we have recorded in 700 locations that we have deployed. Our revenue model is pretty straightforward. We go to the brands, tell them to buy our device, own it up, and pay us the subscription fee every now and then. We also have a distributor and reseller network, which is basically an off-the-shelf kind of product distribution, where they give feedback services just like the way we are giving in direct sales. Here is the competition. We can always say that there are many mechanisms to give feedbacks. For example, point of sale software also has a inherent feedback system. But then again, you cannot take a feedback before sales. So you are assuming that you are first selling and then asking how it was. Tab and kiosk model, it is basically damage prone, expensive, doesn't work out. If there are 3 people complaining simultaneously, they are not going to stay in line for that. Applications, nobody downloads. Social media, it is already public. Your brand is already screwed if you are on social media already. So that's basically we are saying that your feedback should reach you first. You try to resolve. If you're not able to do it, then people will anyways go to social media. You're not serious about your brand. We are a team of 2 people. I am myself, Rahul Mishra. Nilesh, our other guy, who is a long history of entrepreneurship, has built a company, sold to Persistent 3 years ago. I have started a company, busted it, and apart from that, worked in some tech companies like Harrison and all for 5 years. That's pretty much it. We are to hire people. We have hired 3-4 people already who are going to join us from January 1st. So far, this is the entire company size. We have an investment opportunity of $500,000 for building team, distribution network, travel, basically take risk on inventory, and marketing and general ops. We are looking to achieve 5,000 deployments in next 1 year and cross $1 million revenue. We are also working on other electronic devices which can help interact with these smart routers that we've already built, just to take care of kind of small feedbacks that need to come from public places, from banks and other, where it is kind of a sticker switch, which Professor Madhav is helping us out with. It's basically a switch that can be stuck anywhere, and people can give a basic level of feedback that you can understand as to what is the primary set of problems faced in that location. Rest pretty much, we need to establish leadership in a few more geographies than India. We're targeting Singapore, UK, and Dubai. That's pretty much it. For any questions and all, I'm outside and in that room as well. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sudeep Bhattacharya, and I'll be talking about our product which we have trademarked as well. It is called Apna Seva. Now, Apna Seva is an interesting thing that like we have been working on it for almost a couple of years now. First, we built the technology. At that time, we were very confused on what to do and what not to do. But now, after 2 years of deliberation, we are at a stage where we have done private pilots and we are launching more pilots now. So to explain the concept, Apna Seva stands for Aadhaar Authentication Payment Network Access. And Seva we have abbreviated Srishti Enhanced Value Add. So Srishti SDM is our company's name. Now, what we do through these products is, see, we have electronic gadgets which we are making. So which means we have a terminal which empowers certain features through the provisions that we are providing in that. So this has biometric sensors which are UIDAI STQC certified, which means I can do Aadhaar based solutions using this. We have a thermal printer attached to this, which is the need of people who are not so privileged as us, who always want a small receipt to be given as a confirmation for all the services that they avail. And then we have some of the models where we give touch screens which are 5-inch, 7-inch, 10-inch based on the deployments that we are doing. Now, in terms of the unit, see, this is one of the unit that I have shown here. We are working on a couple of other form factors as well. One is a handheld and one is a kiosk self-operated. Now, these terminals is one side of the story that we have built up. The other side of the story lies on the cloud, which is the buzzword nowadays, but practically we have a set of systems on the servers which we have enough the licenses required to conduct the Aadhaar services. B, since I am calling Apna as one of the payment network access as well, so we have the provisions to enable payments. Now, with all this solution, the goal is to create a cardless system and a cashless system. Now, for a cardless system, what we need is alternate ways to identify people. So we are going with Aadhaar in that case, where you can use the biometrics of the people, so you don't need to carry any additional thing apart from yourself. So we also give provisions for iris, where you can actually scan your iris and conduct the identification. Cashless, this I'll explain while I'm just explaining a few things. Now the main arena where we are operating is, see, we look at the internet penetration in India. So today we are very fascinated with, I can do everything with the mobile phone that I have in my pocket, but 80% of the people, we are talking digital India, but there's already a gap in the digital reach, because 80% of the India's population either do not have mobile internet or do not want to use whatever they have. Like my father still doesn't use anything except calling on the mobile or even the PCs. So that is the complete segment that we are addressing using these terminals, which are provided at the last mile. Now, and we of course provide the multilingual, the Indian language support. So we have already worked on 4 of the South Indian languages plus Hindi and English. So which gives us access to the people, and receipts and all are printed in the regional languages, so people really see what they can read or understand. And the other important thing that I think some of the previous speakers also talked about is that we are talking about the government reaching out to various people in a cashless mechanism. Now in cashless mechanism, today they are transferring the government transfers directly to their account, but to use that money again they'll have to either withdraw that money or use alternate mechanisms. We are providing Aadhaar enabled payment service, which is the AEPS, through our systems, which actually whatever money they get in their accounts, and especially with the Jan Dhan Yojana where a lot of accounts have been created, we are getting a booster there where the people can actually use the money in the bank, and using their biometrics they can pay to the other parties. Now what we have also done is, see, we have in our system, we are actually splitting it into 2 parts. The first part we say is that this terminal is going to be owned by merchants who want to earn a livelihood. A. B is that they want to roll out common services to citizens who do not have access to all these services by themselves, right? By virtue of which the person who is owning these systems that we have developed makes his own money, he makes his own living, he makes convenience fees, he makes commissions out of the systems that we are providing. So one is he can run his own primary business, where for example you have these, if you go to an idli shop, what happens is you see a person who quickly types down your small receipt, prints it out, and you have to take it to the counter. That printer itself ranges from 8,000 to 15,000 rupees, right? And people have to invest. Now we are providing that along with a bunch of services. So one is the bill top-up, insurance, loan repayments. This is all enabled through, so this is all enabled through the AEPS, as well as people who are carrying cash, they can actually make the payments for this. So we have the channels to ensure this. Similarly, we have also given the channels to conduct e-commerce. So people who want to procure things from the e-commerce companies and don't have access, they can actually come to our system, the person who owns our system, and take his help to order whatever merchandise he wants. We also provide the telecom services eKYC, where the companies, the telecom operators are spending about 200 rupees to validate physically who is the person and whom are they issuing the SIMs to, periodic validations and all that. So using Aadhaar, we are giving them the eKYC, which enables people to get the transaction ID and all the details of the person, and through authorized channels you can represent the correct data of that person. So a bunch of features that we have provided through which these solutions operate. Now I'll skip quickly. Now, one thing that I want to talk here is, see, we are talking about a solution here. Now, we have been confused for the last 2 years. People said, why are you doing hardware? Why are you doing cloud? Which one are you doing? Now, we have done our private pilots where we went to a few people where we found that both are required. The hardware that we need is a custom hardware. Aadhaar-based solutions cannot be rolled out from an off-the-shelf tablet. I need a custom hardware. Just the moment you enable a printer, I need more items to be attached to the hardware. So we need a custom hardware, and that is a thing that we are doing. And on the other side, we have the strong consolidation of the cloud services through which we are providing these services, which also entails the licenses that we have. So we make money both the ways, where we sell the hardware and this one. Now we are going pilot where the private pilots are over. In the public pilot phase, we are going to places close to Bangalore. So we are going to Davangere, Chintamani, and in Mumbai also we are doing a pilot in Thane, so that we can really validate that the commission structure and the amount that we are envisaging or we had actually proposed to the people who will be using our systems are actually being made. So that is the stage we are in. There have been a good booster from some of the organizations. So we participated so we are one of the top 10 innovators in a challenge organized by IIM Ahmedabad, and which was mentored by University of Berkeley, the Haas School of Business, and it was organized by Intel and DST, the Department of Science and Technology, together. So we were fortunate enough to reach the top 10, and we had the privilege to get an award from the President of India. So we have got some boosters about the concept. The pilots are all showing very positive signs, and we are now in the phase where we're trying to grow further. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank all the mentors, especially people from IIIT Fund who has helped us, all our startups, from Sensitive, Vidya, from Lily, from Sunny Board. We have been fortunate enough Pradeep, Rajesh and Ross from Quality, they have helped the startups very closely mentored and shared their valuable thoughts for a couple of months. Then definitely thank all of you for your valuable time, advice. It helped not only the startups but us also mature in our services that we offer to the startups. Sujit from Accenture, we hope that next year we will have a better engagement and more formally we can work closely. And I thank all the startups to give us an opportunity to help them and also learn along with them in the last 4 months. And this is our second batch. What we got to understand from the previous batch of startups is that we seem to have been offering better services when compared to last batch. We hope to continue to do the same, and we sincerely hope that some of you here would also help us in our journey. Thank you.